You are underdressed for this meeting, the chief executive officer's daughter scoffed, flicking her manicured hand toward my charcoal wool suit. Like this, she was shooing away at pigeons. I did not say a word. I just stood there, letting the silence stretch out until it became uncomfortable for everyone in the room except me. It was 7:45 in the morning on a Tuesday, and I was standing in the boardroom of a Boston high-rise that cost more per square foot than my first house. The air smelled of burnt espresso and the specific metallic fear that comes right before a $3 billion merger discussion. I have been in this game for 18 years. I have survived market crashes, securities and exchange commission audits that felt like surgical procedures without anesthesia, and executives who thought creative accounting was a legitimate business strategy. I am the person they call when the numbers do not match the dreams. I am the fixer, but today apparently I was the help. Chloe Whitaker, the 27-year-old vice president of strategic partnerships, was wearing a neon pink jumpsuit that looked less like business attire and more like something a reckless bridesmaid would wear to a Las Vegas bachelorette party. She had a Master of Business Administration degree where the ink was still wet, purchased by her father's donations to the university, and a vocal fry that could strip paint off a battleship. "Did you hear me, Donovan?" she asked, looking at her phone, probably checking her engagement metrics on a post about her hustle mindset. "My father is expecting a certain level of vibrancy. You look like a museum docent from 1986. The three junior analysts in the corner pretended to be very interested in their tablets. They were terrified. They knew who I was. They knew I knew where the bodies were buried, because I was usually the one holding the shovel, but they also knew Chloe was the chief executive officer's daughter. "My suit is fine, Chloe," I said, my voice dropping an octave. "It is a trick I learned from a litigator in 2008. Never shout. Just lower the frequency until they have to lean in to hear you. He is coming to decide if he wants to park $3.5 billion of pension fund money in our portfolio. He cares about earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, not my inseam." God, you are so literal. This is about energy, Donovan. Dad said I am leading the pitch today because we need fresh energy. You are here for, technical backup if we need to explain the boring stuff. I saw the desperate need for validation masked by arrogance. I saw the terrified little girl playing dress-up in a boardroom she was not qualified to clean, let alone command. Not a loud snap, like a bone-breaking, but a quiet structural failure deep in my chest. I was 48 years old, and I was done. Harold was a man who had been failing upward for 40 years. A silver fox with a tan that screamed he spent company time on a golf course in Florida. Big day, a vision. "Donovan, you were here. You brought the binders." "I brought the data, Harold," I said, patting the stack of leather-bound dossiers in front of me. Great. He waved me off, pouring himself a coffee. "Just keep those under the table for now. We are selling the future today, not the past." I tightened my grip on my pen until my knuckles turned white. The past was the reason this company was not currently being liquidated by the federal government. "Harold," I said, keeping my voice level. "He eats vision for breakfast and spits out bankruptcy filings. If we do not lead with the fundamentals, he is going to walk. Dad, he is doing it again. He is being a buzzkill." Harold sighed, giving me that paternalistic look that makes me want to commit arson. "Donovan, please. Just support her completely. Be a team player, the corporate equivalent of shut up and take the hit." I looked at the clock. Simon Vance would be walking through those doors in 5 minutes. I looked at Chloe, adjusting her posture in the reflection of the window. "Understood," I said, and I meant it. I understood perfectly. I would not interrupt. I would not save them. I smoothed the cover of my binder, took a sip of my water, and waited for the executioner to arrive. The double doors swung open at exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. Simon Vance did not operate on approximate time. He operated on absolute time. He was not a large man, maybe 5 feet and 9 inches tall, slight build, but he carried himself with the lethal economy of a predator. No wasted movement. He did not smile. He did not apologize for the traffic. Behind him trailed 2 junior associates, looking like nervous squires attending a knight who was known to behead his own staff. "Mr. Vance," Chloe practically squealed, bouncing out of her chair. I am Chloe, so hyped to finally connect. Big fan of your portfolio's diversity matrix. It was a limp, perfunctory shake. Miss Whitaker, he said, your father speaks highly of you. Oh, Dad is biased, Chloe laughed, tossing her hair. But seriously, we are ready to blow your mind today. We are thinking outside the box. I took a sip of water to hide the grimace. Inside the sphere? Harold beamed from the sidelines, looking like a proud parent at a toddler's recital, oblivious to the fact that the toddler was currently juggling chainsaws. Chloe has prepared a presentation that really captures our forward momentum. Vance did not look at Harold. He sat down, opened his notebook, and uncapped a fountain pen. My analysts have reviewed your annual report. I have specific questions regarding your debt-to-equity ratio in the emerging market sector and the liquidity of your Class B shares. His eyes slid over Harold, dismissed the trembling analysts in the corner, and landed on me. He held my gaze for a beat. It was a recognition of species. He saw the tired eyes, the rigid posture, the lack of smiling. Then Chloe clapped her hands. Totally. She dimmed the lights and clicked a remote. A massive screen at the end of the room lit up with a slide that just said Synergy in a font that looked like graffiti. She was using her hands too much, chopping the air. And right now our company is shouting. We are pivoting to a consumer-first, eco-conscious, digital native narrative. I watched Vance. He was staring at the slide with an expression that sat somewhere between boredom and mild nausea. We are launching an influencer campaign, Chloe continued, clicking to the next slide, which showed a collage of internet video stars holding our products. We estimate a 400% increase in brand sentimentality within the third quarter. Sentimentality is not a metric, Vance said. He just dropped the sentence into the air like a stone. Chloe froze. Well, I mean brand love engagement. It translates to sales eventually. He looked at Harold. You are asking for $3.5 billion of capital, and your opening pitch is brand love. Simon, it is about capturing the demographic, the youth market. He turned back to Chloe. What is your customer acquisition cost for this Project Vibe versus your traditional channels? Nothing came out. She looked at the screen as if the answer might magically appear on the face of the teenage influencer. It is not fluid, I said. The room went silent. Harold looked like he wanted to throw his coffee cup at my head, but Vance just turned his chair slightly to face me. It is not fluid, I repeated, keeping my voice flat, but the lifetime value of those customers is 30% lower because they have a churn rate of 6 months. He finally touched his pen to the paper. Donovan, Chloe hissed, her smile now looking more like a rictus of pain. I was getting to that. There is no flow, Chloe, I thought, but did not say. There is only a drain, and we are circling it. Why is the churn rate so high? I hesitated. I could save Chloe. I could give a vague answer. Blame the economy. That is what a team player would do. But then I looked at Chloe's sneer. I remembered the museum docent comment. The churn rate is high, I said, locking eyes with Vance, because the product quality in the new vertical was compromised to pay for the marketing budget. We cut research and development by 15% to fund the influencers. Harold gasped. Actually gasped. Vance did not look at Harold. He just nodded at me. Chloe looked like she had just been slapped with a wet trout. She stood there in the dim light of her Synergy slide, realizing for the first time that this was not a game, and I was not a background character in her main character journey. After my little truth bomb about the research and development cuts, the air in the room was so thick you could choke on it. Harold, in a panic, called for a strategic recess, refresh coffee, restroom break. He grabbed Chloe by the elbow and practically dragged her into the adjoining kitchenette, where I could hear aggressive whispering. It sounded like a raccoon fighting inside a trash can. I was not going to run. I was not going to hide in the bathroom. I was going to watch the fire. Simon Vance stood up. Mr. Whitaker, he said to me, getting my last name slightly confused with the family, but I did not correct him, actually. No, my last name is something else. Walk me to the elevator, Vance said to me. I need to make a call. I stood up, smoothed my suit, and walked him out of the boardroom, past the terrified junior analyst who looked at me like I was a martyr on my way to the stake. The hallway was quiet. We walked in silence to the elevator bank. He pressed the button, but did not look at his phone. How long? He asked. No, he said. How long has the daughter been running things? Since Harold decided he wanted a legacy that looked good on social media. Vance nodded, watching the floor numbers tick down. Usually in family-owned manufacturing firms in the Midwest, the patriarch gets old, gets scared of irrelevance, brings in the kid who thinks business is a motivational speech. You are the only reason the stock has not tanked yet, are you not? I manage expectations, I said diplomatically. You are doing more than cleaning up spills. You are holding up the ceiling. The doors slid open, revealing the mirrored interior. He did not get in. Why stay, he asked. Why stay here and let a 27-year-old amateur insult you in front of a $3 billion prospect? I looked at my reflection in the elevator mirror. Because I built this, I said quietly. I built the relationships. I structured the debt that allowed Harold to buy his third house. They think I am part of the furniture. Vance smiled. It was a terrifying expression, like a shark recognizing blood in the water. My stomach dropped. I knew it was coming, but hearing it out loud still hurt. However, he continued, I am not going to walk away yet, either. I want to see how this plays out. He leaned in slightly. Let her talk when we go back in. I want to see if she hangs herself, or if she strangles the company first, and if she strangles the company. Then we pick the carcass clean, he said. But if you take the lead, if you show me there is a pilot in the cockpit, we might proceed. 5 minutes, Donovan. Then the real meeting starts. The doors closed. I stood in the hallway for a moment, my heart hammering against my ribs. It was adrenaline. High-octane premium unleaded adrenaline. No, he had given me a mandate. I walked back toward the boardroom. It is just jealousy. He is jealous because I am young and I have vision, and he is just administrative. I know, honey, I know, but we need him for the numbers. Just dazzle him. You are a star. I stopped outside the door. I took a deep breath. I imagined pulling a pin on a grenade. Ready for round 2? I asked, my voice cheerful, almost bright. Just sit down and shut up, Donovan. I am handling this. Dazzle us. When Vance returned, he did not sit down immediately. Miss Whitaker, he said, let us move past the marketing. I want to talk about governance. She thought governance meant company culture. She thought it meant pizza Fridays and casual dress codes. A slide appeared titled Our Tribe. It featured stock photos of diverse people high-fiving in a sunlit park. We are empowering our team members to be their own chief executive officers. It is about holistic ownership. I noticed in your last proxy statement that your audit committee head is your uncle. Chloe blinked. Yes, he is great. He is a dentist, but he is really good with money. The silence that followed was so loud it was deafening. A dentist. I slowly slid a document across the mahogany table. It made a heavy, distinct swish sound. Mr. Vance, I said softly, if you look at tab 4 in the packet I just provided, you will see the risk mitigation strategy regarding board composition. We have outlined a transition plan to bring in 3 independent directors within the next fiscal quarter to comply with federal requirements for public listing. Should we go that route? He flipped to tab 4. He read it. I did not approve that document, Donovan. Why are you handing out unapproved materials? Mr. Vance asked about governance, and Uncle Jerry is a dentist, is not an answer that gets you a check with 9 zeros on it. Now. Jerry is a very astute businessman, and Donovan, we have not agreed to any independent directors. He looked at Harold. You are asking me to leverage pension funds, and then they will short your stock. Chloe looked at her father. The buzzwords were failing her completely. The vibe was dying. We have a ping-pong table in the break room. We have mental health days. I have outlined the potential securities and exchange commission fines on page 15. It exceeds your projected fourth quarter profit margin. Actually snatched it and stared at page 15. This is negative. You are sabotaging us. I am disclosing material risk, I said. If we do not disclose it and he invests and then finds out, that is fraud. That is prison. Real prison with jumpsuits that definitely do not fit your aesthetic. Vance actually let out a short, dry sound. He is right, Vance said. He took the packet back from Chloe's trembling hand. You should be thanking him. Chloe's face went from pale to red. She was being schooled in her own boardroom by the secretary she despised. I need a break, Chloe announced abruptly. I need to check on the lunch catering. She turned and marched out of the room on her precarious heels. She was going to cry in the bathroom or call her mother. Harold looked at me with pure hatred. I am saving your deal, Harold, I replied calmly. Vance watched the door close behind Chloe. Keep talking, he said. Tell me about the debt structure. I ran the meeting. The session on debt structuring went flawlessly. It was like playing tennis with a professional, fast, precise, no wasted motion. But then Chloe returned. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but she had reapplied her lip gloss and her arrogance. She walked in carrying a tray of artisanal sandwiches that nobody asked for the company. "Okay," she announced, slamming the tray down. "Food for thought." Nobody laughed. As I reached for my water, my phone buzzed on the table. "Stop talking. You have made your point. She needs this win. If you say one more word about compliance, we are having a very different conversation on Monday regarding your employment." There it was, the ultimatum. He would fire the only person who knew how to fly the plane just so his daughter could wear the captain's hat while we crashed. I looked up at Harold. Then I looked at the junior analyst sitting to Vance's left. A young woman, maybe 25, sharp eyes, wearing a suit that was professional and modest. She caught my eye. She gave the tiniest, almost imperceptible nod. It was a signal. "We hear you. It is funny." In that moment, I felt more kinship with the strangers across the table, the people who were technically our adversaries, than I did with the man I had worked for nearly 2 decades. "Miss Whitaker," he said to Chloe, "your associate has explained the debt handling. I would like to hear your plan for the future revenue streams, specifically how you plan to monetize the new software platform." The software platform did not exist. It was a vaporware concept Harold had floated to boost the stock price last quarter. "Oh, the platform. It is going to be the revolutionary disruption of what we do." She was just saying words she had heard on television. "Who is the lead developer?" "We are sourcing talent right now," Chloe said. "But the vision is there," Vance asked. "We have a fractional chief technology officer," Chloe said. I knew the fractional chief technology officer. It was a freelancer in Ukraine. I looked at my phone. I stopped talking. I looked at Vance, who was waiting for me to intervene, to save them, to lie. If I stayed silent, the deal died. I took a slow sip of water. I thought about my mortgage. I thought about the 18 years of weekends I gave this place. And then I thought about Uncle Jerry the dentist. "Actually," I said, breaking the silence, "we do not just have a fractional chief technology officer. The platform is white-labeled from a third-party vendor in India. We do not own the intellectual property." "Donovan!" Harold slammed his hand on the table. Vance did not blink. He looked at me. "No," I said, my voice steady. "We license it. It is in the vendor contracts." Tab 7. "I think we are done here. Donovan, get out now." His voice was not loud, but it had the weight of an anvil. Harold froze. I said. "Sit down," Vance repeated. "Unless you want me to call the Securities and Exchange Commission right now and report you for material misrepresentation during a funding solicitation." He looked like he was having a stroke. Chloe looked like she was going to vomit. "Tell me about the licensing agreement." And I did. I ignored his daughter. I laid out the corpse of the company on the table and performed the autopsy right there in front of them. It was a deposition. Vance asked questions. Chloe and Harold sat there in stunned silence, like two statues commissioned to commemorate the death of competence. Every time I spoke, I could feel the severance package shrinking, but it felt euphoric. It was the feeling of taking off a tight corset after wearing it for 20 years. I was not polishing a piece of garbage. I was just holding it up and saying, "Look, it is garbage." To summarize, your marketing strategy is based on internet bots. Your audit chair is a dentist. That is an aggressive interpretation, Harold croaked. He sounded 10 years older than he had that morning. He looked at Chloe. "And you think vibes are a substitute for solvent assets." She stood up, tears welling in her eyes, trembling. "You are being mean," she said. Her voice wobbled. "I have a vision. I have followers. You have nothing," Vance said. He did not say it cruelly. "You are an empty suit, Miss Whitaker, and not even a well-tailored one. Real ugly tears." She grabbed her bag and ran out of the room. He just slumped in his chair, staring at the mahogany table, as if it held the answers to where his life went wrong. Vance stood up. "Thank you for your time," he said to Harold. Harold looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. "We will be in touch," Vance said. It was the standard non-answer. He extended his hand. "Donovan," he said. "It is rare." I shook his hand. "Just doing my job, Mr. Vance." "For now," Harold muttered under his breath. He paused, looking at Harold, then back at me. He did not say anything else. The door clicked shut. I was alone in the room with Harold. Harold slowly turned his head to look at me. His face was a mask of cold fury. "You know that, right? You are finished in this town. We will sue you for breach of fiduciary duty." I will make sure you never work in investor relations again. I gathered my binders. I stacked them neatly. I did not breach confidentiality. I prevented fraud. There is a difference. And if you sue me, I will depose Chloe. Do you want that? Harold's mouth opened then closed. I am going to my office to pack, I said. Send human resources down with the paperwork. I walked out. My legs were shaking, but my head was high, or so I thought. I did not know that the game was not over. He was making a call. My office was a corner suite with a view of the harbor. I had earned it deal by deal, crisis by crisis. Now it looked like a stranger's room. I started packing the framed photo of my golden retriever, Buster. The Crystal Deal of the Year award from 2015. My hands were trembling. The adrenaline was wearing off, replaced by a crushing wave of nausea. I was 48 years old. I had a mortgage. Who hires a whistleblower? Who hires the man who sinks the ship he is on? It was Brenda from Human Resources. Brenda and I used to get drinks on Fridays. She was holding a manila envelope. Donovan, she said, her voice tight. The termination notice, I asked, dropping a stapler into the box. It is a formality before the firing. He wants you escorted out. Security? I laughed. I have worked here for 18 years, Brenda. You think I am going to steal the staplers? He is furious. He is breaking things upstairs. Chloe is always hysterical, I muttered. 2 security guards appeared behind Brenda. Contracted muscle. They looked at me like I was a threat. I handed them over. I felt naked without them. I am ready, I said, picking up my box. We did the walk of shame. Past the break room where the coffee was stale. Past the receptionist who looked like she was about to cry. It was raining. Of course it was raining. I stood there on the wet pavement holding my box, water ruining my hair, thinking about how I was going to explain this to my family. Yes, I got fired because I refused to let a 20-something influencer ruin a billion-dollar company. I almost did not answer it. It was probably Harold calling to scream at me one last time, but it was not Harold. A 212 area code, New York. This is Donovan. It is Simon Vance. Mr. Vance, where are you? I am on the sidewalk, I said. Good, he said. That saves me the trouble of getting you a visitor pass. I am still in the lobby, he said. I did not leave. I turned. Through the rain-streaked glass of the building's massive lobby, I saw him. Come back inside, Donovan, he said. I cannot, I said. I am persona non grata. Not anymore, he said. What? The company has a bridge loan that was expiring next week. I just bought the note from the bank. Technically, as of 5 minutes ago, I am the primary creditor of this organization, which means I own the furniture, I own the lights, and I own Harold. Come back inside, he repeated. We have a meeting to finish. I walked back through the revolving doors. The security guards who had just kicked me out stepped forward to stop me. He is with me. The guards stopped. They looked at his suit. They looked at the way he stood. Money talks, but big money commands. Leave the box, Vance said. I left the box of shame on the security desk. We got into the elevator. It was a comfortable silence. Why? Because I like companies with good bones, Vance said. This place has good bones, and you are the exterminator. The elevator doors opened. The junior analysts gasped when they saw me. Brenda from Human Resources dropped a folder. He was on the phone yelling at someone, probably his lawyer. Chloe was sitting on his sofa. When we walked in, Harold dropped the phone. What the hell is he doing here, security? I said. Security works for me now, Vance said, walking over and sitting on the edge of Harold's massive desk. He picked up a Newton's cradle and started clicking it. Clack, clack, clack. What are you talking about the situation? Harold demanded. The bridge loan, Vance said softly. The $20 million you owe City National. They were very happy to sell the note to me at 90 cents on the dollar. They were worried about your solvency, with good reason. Harold went pale. You cannot do that. I did. And since you are in default on the covenants, specifically the one about maintaining a qualified audit committee, I am calling the loan immediately. Harold sank into his chair. I do not have $20 million liquid. I know, Vance said, but you have equity. So here is the deal. Convert the debt to equity. I become the majority shareholder. You step down as chief executive officer. You become, let us say, chairman emeritus. You can golf. You can keep your car. And Chloe? Harold whispered. Vance looked at Chloe. She looked small. Chloe is fired, Vance said, for cause. Grove's incompetence in creating a hostile work environment. Chloe shrieked, You cannot fire me. My dad owns the company. Not anymore, Vance said. He stood up and turned to me. The board meets on Monday to appoint a new interim chief executive officer, Vance said. I am nominating Donovan. The room went dead silent. Harold looked at me. Chloe looked at me. Him? Chloe spat. He is a nobody. He wears suits from the outlet mall. I took a step forward. I walked right up to Chloe. I looked down at her completely. It is not an outlet mall, Chloe, I said, my voice calm, steady, and terrifyingly quiet. It is vintage, and unlike you, it has value that increases over time. I turned to Harold. I will need access to the executive files immediately, I said. And Harold, I am going to need you to vacate this office by 5 o'clock in the evening. I have a lot of work to do to fix the mess you made. Harold looked at Vance. Vance just nodded. Harold stood up. He looked old, defeated. He grabbed his jacket. Come on, Chloe, he said. But Dad! Come on, he snapped. They walked out. I watched them go. The nepotism baby and the dinosaur extinct. Monday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, I walked into the corner office. The smell of Harold's cologne was gone, replaced by the scent of lemon polish and fresh air. The desk was clear. The golf trophies were gone. I sat down in the leather chair. It was comfortable. It fit. My email inbox was already full, but for the first time in years I did not dread opening it. I had a team, I had a mandate, I had power. Brenda from Human Resources came in looking sheepish. Good morning, Mr. Mercer. Donovan, what should I call you? Donovan is fine, Brenda, I said, but let us get those independent directors vetted. I want resumes on my desk by noon. Yes, sir. She smiled, a real smile. She knew the ship was not sinking anymore. I opened the top drawer of the desk. There was a single envelope inside. It was handwritten. I opened it. It was a note from Simon Vance. Donovan, competence is the only currency that matters. You are rich. Postscript, burn the synergy slides. All of them. Simon. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. I swiveled the chair around to look at the view. The harbor was sparkling. The rain had cleared. Chloe was probably on the internet right now, spinning a narrative about how she was bullied out of her position by the establishment. Harold was probably drinking scotch at 9 in the morning. But I was here, in the chair. I picked up the phone. Get me the research and development department, I said to the assistant. I want to talk about refunding the product line and order some lunch. But no artisanal sandwiches, just good, solid food. I hung up. I pulled a file toward me. The numbers were ugly. The road ahead was going to be brutal. We had debt to clear, trust to rebuild, and a market to convince. But for the first time in 18 years, I was not fixing someone else's mess. I was building my own house. I took a sip of my coffee. It tasted like victory. And you know what? My suit looked damn good.